Ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, we are back with another banger. We've got what if Oleksandr Usyk was part of the UFC. So, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to take you through the top 15 and tell you guys if I think that Oleksandr Usyk is capable of beating him, or beating them, yeah. So obviously this is following his win over Tyson Fury to unify the belts, and realistically, do I think he would be ever join the UFC? No. And I think if either him or Fury were more likely to do it, it's definitely Fury because he wants more money. But yeah, right, okay, so first off, number 15, we've got Rodrigo this Rodrigo guy who got beaten up by Derek Lewis. Now, for me, I don't think he'd be able to beat Usyk. And you might think that, oh, well, you know, he trains MMA, so he's definitely going to be able to beat him. But the reason I say that I don't think he would win is, okay, first of all, right, his 2 losses in the UFC are TKO losses. So, and that's like he's been knocked out or he's been knocked out. Like he's either been knocked out on the feet or he's been knocked out on the ground. And I think that if he's getting knocked out on the feet by Derek Lewis, who may be powerful but isn't very technical, then I believe that Oleksandr Usyk has the capabilities to knock him out. Also, I want to point out, if you look at the amount of strikes he's absorbed, he actually absorbs more strikes than he delivers. He gets absorbed with 4 significant strikes every round. I actually can't read it. Oh, per minute actually. So that's pretty big. So if he's doing that every minute, he's getting hit with nearly 5 punches because it's 4.6. I think that he wouldn't be able to take that from an excellent boxer in Oleksandr Usyk. So I'm going to say that Usyk could beat the number 15 ranked Rodrigo. I should really learn how to say his surname. I think it's Nascimento, but I might be wrong. Okay, right, next. Number 14. This is a bit harder because it's Marcos de Lima or something. I actually can't remember his name either. But this fat Brazilian guy. Now, he is actually a striker, so he's obviously not going to be as incapable on the feet as what's his name, Nascimento would be. But if you actually look at him when he's striking, you know, he throws a lot of big, wild shots to try and finish. So I can imagine him possibly rocking Usyk, obviously because he's a lot heavier, and then just getting caught by Usyk, or you know, he has his hands down, Usyk moves out the way. Not that I think he could rock Usyk, because I think if it was on the feet, then I think Usyk would beat him. His best bet would be to take it down. But I don't believe he has any takedowns in the UFC. He might have some, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I can imagine him, you know, throwing a haymaker, and then Usyk rolls under, counters him, knocks him out, and then yeah. So this is also, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same punch that he was able to evade and counter from Tyson Fury. So yeah, me personally, I think that he would beat. I think this would be an easier fight because you've got less of a threat of a submission. Although equally, I know that he would probably still train on the ground, and I feel like if anyone was matched up against someone with such good boxing but no ground game, you definitely just learn the ground game, unless you want to be like John Jones and beat them where they're at their best. But yeah, okay, right. Number 13 is what's his face? Oh, I can't remember his name. Oh, Romanov. Okay, right. So, do I think that he'd be able to beat Romanov? Yeah, to be honest, I do. Now, you might think, oh well, Romanov's a wrestler, so he's obviously just going to take down Usyk and beat him. But if you look at his fight against Volkov, right, he turned up fat and obese, and he tried to take him down, and within a minute, gassed out. So me personally, I think if Usyk can survive a minute with him, I know the photo I chose wasn't very good, but look, you can kind of see his mouth breathing a bit. He did 1 minute of exercise and then got tired. So if we think about Usyk, he's notorious for warming up in the later rounds. I mean, he always tries to win rounds 1, 2 and 3, and then will try and win rounds 9, 10, 11 and 12. So if you actually look at Usyk's ability to save enough cardio, I think he would be able to beat Alexander Romanov. Is it Alexander? But yeah, anyway, I think he'd beat Romanov. Anyway, then we've got Jairzinho Rozenstruik. This is a bit of a difficult one because Jairzinho is one of those guys where it steps up a bit between him and Romanov. He's definitely a lot better than Romanov, I think, and there's a bit of a gap. But the reason I say that I think he's better is he's got a lot more power, so he's got a bit more of an equalizer. I know he probably doesn't have the greatest cardio, considering he's a bit of a chunky heavyweight. He's a bit of a blob, but not entirely. If we actually look at his stats though, there's not much worry about him trying to take down Usyk. He's never taken anyone down in the UFC. He's never submitted anyone. I'm not saying he can't take him down, and if they did fight, he'd probably be like 40 pounds heavier, but I don't think that's going to be enough to beat Usyk, and I think he could outbox him on the feet because, Rosenstrike isn't someone who likes to take people down, clearly. He's also been knocked out before by Volkov with, I think it was a 1-2, possibly from southpaw, so which is literally what Usyk could catch him with. But yeah, so definitely someone I could see him beating. Next we've got Taitu Vasa. I believe he's ranked number 11th, I might be wrong though. Yeah, so the reason I think that he'd be able to beat Taitu Vasa is, I mean, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's never taken anyone down in the UFC. He's never submitted anyone. 0% takedown accuracy, like I said. He actually absorbs far more strikes than he delivers. Like, it's like more than 2 strikes every, I think, no, not quite more than, but nearly 2 strikes every minute. Significant strikes, that is, more than his opponent. So if you look at that, for me, that suggests that he's able to get caught a lot, and he did in his fight against Sergey Pavlovich. He's also on a 3-fight losing streak. Like, I don't know if I said that already, but I mean, he's been knocked out before, he's been submitted, and I'm not saying Usyk's going to submit him, but I think this is I think that Taitu Vasa is actually worse than Jairzinho Rozenstruik at the moment. But yeah, so I think he would be able to beat him. Okay, next up, the level step up a bit, we've got Derek Lewis. Now, Derek Lewis is obviously, he's always got that puncher's chance, and he's always able to beat anyone and knock them out. However, I mean, he said it himself, his cardio is awful, and I do believe that, I'm not talking like blob levels cardio, like Shamil Gaziev, but I do think that he has some of the worst cardio in the UFC. So, well, obviously for a heavyweight, it's not too bad, but like, he's actually said in his post-fight interviews, you know, he needs to go and work on his cardio and things like that, and you can see him looking really sweaty after this fight. So I think, like I said with Romanov, I think that Usyk just stays too active, and he's got such good cardio and great footwork that I feel like Derek, who's very flat-footed, would chase him around a bit and get so tired that I think he would gas out, and I think that Usyk could finish it. Actually, you know what, I probably wouldn't place a bet on him finishing it. I reckon he could win on points, but yeah. Okay, right, next we've got Sergey Spivak at number 9, I think. Let me be honest with you, I cannot be bothered to watch any of Sergey Spivak's fights. I haven't even seen him fight before. I know obviously he fought, what's his name, Cyril Gane, but this man has not fought in ages, and he's just incredibly boring. You just look at him and you just think like, he's gonna be one of those dull fighters. I don't think I've seen any of his fights, so I should probably watch his fight with Gane. But I know he's a wrestler, he does a lot of sambo, so he might be able to take him down and probably TKO him or whatever, submit him possibly. But to be honest, I think that Usyk wins because he's just way more interesting. And if that might be a bad reason, but I can't be bothered to watch any of his fights. Yeah. Okay. Next we've got Marcin Tybura. Now, obviously, Tybura has finished a lot of his opponents by submission. He obviously just came off a submission against Taitu Vasa. However, if you watch his fight against Tom Aspinall, he got clipped, and I mean, look at that face in the top right. That is a pretty muggable face, you know. So, me personally, I don't think he's very good on the feet, and I do think that Usyk could catch him. He didn't really want to take Aspinall down, although obviously if you're fighting a boxer, again, you're going to want to take them down. So Usyk's going to have 6 months training. I reckon he could stop a takedown and could knock him out. Also, he's got a dead headline. But yeah, okay, right, number 7, Jailton Almeida. This is where it gets a bit harder for me to argue, because Jailton is obviously a really strong jiu-jitsu fighter and has finished a lot of people. Like, he's got 12 wins by submission. However, I actually think that Almeida would struggle with Usyk. Not necessarily, but if you look at him, he's actually probably lighter than Usyk sometimes. He made his pro debut at welterweight, and when Usyk fought Fury, Usyk was able to outmaneuver Fury in the clinch, which is something that not a lot of people can do. And Fury's like 270 pounds, so for someone who weighs in at like 214 sometimes, I think that he'd be able to out-grapple him. Not out-grapple him, but yeah, I think he'd do alright in the grappling department. In terms of the top 6, yeah, I'll be honest, I can't see Usyk beating many of them. Volkov's pretty good. I think that Curtis Blades would just take him down and TKO him. Pavlovich, yeah, but I reckon Pavlovich could catch him, and I could see that being a problem. I could see him possibly beating Gane, because Gane doesn't really take people down. He gets taken down more than he takes people down, so it's definitely doable. And that's probably the most winnable out of the top 6. I think him or Volkov possibly, or Pavlovich, but he definitely wouldn't beat Aspinall. And there's no way he's beating Jones. However, in boxing, we all know that's a different story. But yeah, okay, that's been today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys thought of the Usyk and Fury fight down below. If you want me to make a breakdown of it, I can, but I don't think you will. But yeah, alright, peace, love and guidance. I'm out.